Hello everyone, Dr. Greg here with another video. I wanted to talk about the future. The future is, it seems that the future is that we're going to be working from home and learning from home for quite some time. At least the next 3 to 6 months, if not even more. And I want to talk about that. Now, there are two sort of columns or ways of looking at working from home or its effects. You have mental and you have physical. Now, normally, before the lockdowns and stuff, we got in our car, went to work, and interacted with people, got up from our workstation to go to the bathroom, to have a meeting, to talk to our colleagues. We had a lot of motion in our work day, even though the drive was longer, maybe we sat at the desk for a while, but we got up often and we talked to people. Now let's look at this, break this down to the mental and the physical. So typically, before the lockdowns, people had on average 12 social interactions a day. Now, that is that's just the average. So some people had more and some people had less. Typically, if you're working in an office and you have lots of meetings and you're talking to your colleagues, trying to plan things, you have a lot more social interactions. Now, in terms of the brain, us humans are social animals. Some of us can actually be alone a lot, and we're fine with that. But some people who are alone, quite a few actually, have a problem with being alone. A lot more anxiety is occurring today, depression is occurring today, a lot more of the social isolation and stuff is happening, which makes us kind of go a little cuckoo. So that's the mental piece, and I could talk about that in terms of the spiritual piece and whatever. And then we have the physical piece. Again, even though maybe the commute was an hour, but you got to the office, you walked to the office, you did get up often, you had lots of talks, you probably stood for a while at the copier or go to the back, whatever you did a lot of running around and moving. Again, the amount of steps, let's just look at walking steps. On average, it's 1.5 to 2 miles a day of walking. That's on average. Now, what's happening is we're lumping the walking in one chunk of time. So we'll work all day, and I'm going to go for a walk, and that'll do me good. So those are the two things that are happening. We have reduced social interaction and reduced physical activity throughout the day. Now remember my last video, I talked about health being an all-day, every day, or actually let's reverse that, an everyday, all-day event. So you can't just parcel out a piece of the day and say, oh, I'm going to work out here and I'm going to be fine. Now, working out, weightlifting, running, aerobic stuff, if you do it for an hour or whatever, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, once a day or every other day, that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's not a good thing. What I'm saying is because of our lifestyle today, because of the lockdown, because we're working at home and learning at home, our activities, physical and mental, are greatly reduced. And what the kind of impact that has on our bodies is negative. There are negative consequences to having reduced social interaction and reduced physical activity. Now, what's important to understand about our brain and our body is that our brain is closely linked to how our body reacts. Our body sends input into our brain constantly. Right now, as I'm moving my arms like this, or I'm standing, gravity actually stimulates my muscles to send information to my brain. As I move my arms and I move my legs, information is getting to the brain. That is called activation. When you have social interactions, that is called activation. And the brain lives on activation. It also lives on oxygen and food, right? The right kinds of food. But one of the things that are lacking today because of the lockdown is the lack of activation. Very important to consider. You can get all the oxygen you can by doing breathing and stuff like that. You can get all the good food you can, but if you don't have activation, the sort of the third leg of the stool, your brain is still going to start having bad effects. So, to reiterate, we live now in a reality that we're all going to be working from home or learning from home. Luckily, I don't. I mean, I have to be here. People have to come see me. So I have lots of social interactions in a day. I have lots of physical stuff. I'm constantly moving. But a lot of us are not. What do? Go to the grocery store, go home. You can't, you know, your faces are covered. You can't see people's mouths, which actually causes a stimulation in our brain. That's how babies learn. They see a mouth. They see you're talking. That's how they learn language. We're not having that now. And so what we have to do is find ways to compensate for that. I usually call it hacking the system. But that goes to the point where when you're living in, when you're going to work, driving your car, moving around, you're moving and social interaction all day long. Not just an hour or whatever in a day. So it's important to find methods to kind of stimulate your brain all day long, not just 1 hour a day. And that's what the research is showing, is that 1 hour a day of activity is not enough to keep your body healthy, especially if you're sedentary, sitting in front of the couch, sitting in front of the computer, working all day long. We have to find a way to overcome that. And that's what I'm going to be doing over the next few months, is we're going to talk about overcoming this being sedentary and working from home or learning from home. So this is Dr. Greg, changing the way we look at health.